I have run out of time. I have 2 hours before Ted's supposed to be here with Ken to pick up all of this stuff. And I just got off of work. It's going to be a little hectic. What we're doing is making one of these. Oh, I'm Hawk. I make props and costumes. Today we're doing 300 stuff for Ted. He's got the sword, all 3D printed. Not necessarily the best idea in the world, but it's where we're at. Oh, speaking of this, let's have a second. I didn't 3D print this. I didn't finish this. One of our friends, Scott, did it, right? He did an amazing job. It looks great. I have a 3D printer. I could have done it, but I was doing other stuff instead. A lot of people are like, I don't have all of those tools. You're not alone in this community. There are so many people out there willing to help. All you have to do is find them and ask. Join groups. If you're excited about a thing, that excitement rubs off. You're not alone in costuming. Pretty much ever. Oh, and we're also making a pouch. He needs something to keep his phone in a bar of some kind for food. Got about 2 hours. Should be more than enough time to make an easy sheath and a belt and a pouch. The more I sit and ramble, the longer this is going to take, so let's get into it. We're about to set up over here where we normally film, except I have a bunch of lumber on a couple of sawhorses. Might not be the prettiest setup, but this is already here and open and ready to go. We're moving everything over here. The lighting on this is just atrocious. All right, it's our side pouch, right? I set his phone down, I traced it. We went a certain thickness, which I believe is 1.5 inches, which is 3 phones worth. And then I just cut everything out. We've been over pouch patterns before. I'm gonna give myself a bit of extra leeway on the sides and the back, just so I have something to stitch to. This sword is wooden, right? And it fits in the sheath okay. It's a bit sloppy, it's a bit loose. It's gonna be. I'm gonna try and keep that same looseness with the 3D printed one, because I have a feeling he's gonna want something a little more durable. But all I'm gonna do is set it down, trace it out, and we'll talk about what I'm doing differently after we're done tracing. Here's the sheath. Here's the sword. If you look, it follows the curve of the sword here, and then goes straight right at this peak and this peak, because you have to be able to pull the sword down. So it has to be this wide from this point on, which is what I did here. This line represents the top of the hilt, or the top of the handle, I mean, the hand guard. And this has a detail that folds over, which we're going to replicate right here. And this has, I'd say, 1/2 inch worth of fold. And then it just does this. So now I have to be careful, because the red will show through, because the inside is on the outside now. So we're going to switch over to black. Honestly, the only reason I used the red is because I had it. All right, that's the scabbard. I'm going to flip this over and do it over the same thing on this side, making sure to flip it when I do that, so I'm not even worried about marking that out yet. But now we need the belt. And the belt is just a long piece of leather, right? But it needs to be a couple inches longer. This is where having another hand to be super useful. Just could use something a little. Let's see if that'll work. Yes, yes it will. We're going to need random straps, and then that's going to, so the belt is notched right here, and I do believe that is because his straps were too small. So on the other one, I'm going to add probably an inch. I'm going to add an inch onto the back so we can use a full-size belt the whole length. That way it's more adjustable and easier to use. What are you? I'm going to cut everything out, and we'll pick it back up in a minute. I got everything cut out. In my infinite wisdom, I forgot to flip it when I was tracing it. So if I'm tracing the belt with the hide side up, I should make sure that the piece I'm tracing has the hide side up. Caught it before it got too far, but something to keep in mind. Now for the fun part, punching a bunch of holes so we can stitch this thing together. I don't like how this was made. I think there's a better way to do it. The thing is stitched together after the rivets are put on, though. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going back over the table. We're not using rivets. We're using Chicago screws just because I want to be able to take it apart. Same reason I always just use Chicago screws. But everything has been cut out, and that's where we're at. Full of water. First thing we're going to do is wet form the pouch. Just get that a little wet. Doesn't take a lot, by the way. Just enough to soften up the wood. Fold it where we want it. And hit it a bit. I'm not going to go too crazy in the front, or on the back, I mean, because I still need to stitch the strap that goes across the front on, and the belt loop on. But that now forms a nice seam. And yes, I actually rotated my table so that my pony is on this side. There we go. Now everything should fold up nice and neat. These two sides should be just a little long because that's what's getting stitched. And that will fold over and have a neat little phone box. Luckily, there's minimal stitching on this one. I love my cowboy, but it is down far too low to be comfortable. And now, everything should just slot together. Give a nice, neat little box. I'm going to stitch these edges real quick. No. Whoa. I'm going to put the belt loop on first, then stitch those edges real quick. We got a belt loop in the back that goes up and down that will fit through this. No, through this, so he can wear it. And then, in fact, I may stitch the whole thing so it's got a lot of room to play, because the weight of the phone's going to hold it down as long as we stitch it towards the top. So the pouch is almost done. I started to sew the bottom here and went, no, wait a minute. I'd rather it be a snap. That way it's easier to get on and off as needed, and it doesn't have to be threaded through things. So we're going to put a snap there when tag gets in. But for the most part, this is done. It's not a bad little pouch either. The loop is a bit snug, which is fine. It's better than it being too loose. But the more he uses it, the more wear it'll get and the easier it'll be to open and close. For the belt, I've already rounded over, tapped and rounded down the two edges. I can now move my water so I won't spill it all over myself. I'll set it on the sewing machine and spill it there. But now we're just basically following the pattern that this has, which may or may not be a good idea, but that's what we're doing. Ted went with a dark nickel on most of his stuff. So I have the exact same in Chicago screws we're going to use. And again, I'm just mirroring what was done here. Whether that's right or not has yet to be determined, but it is what I am doing. So this setup I have for my leather, I love these drawers. I just have to label them now. This way better than the one drawer I had over there. Being able to pull all my punches out all at once makes things so much nicer too. They're a little smaller than that, but I like that better. So the one we're copying, it looks handmade. And things can be handmade without looking handmade, you know what I mean? Back. So on the back, the eyelets, and then they were sewn. I'm going to put the eyelets over here so I can sew the whole thing and then attach everything and not have to worry about, we can adjust the angle a lot more that way. I'm just going to go in a little past our stitch line. So this belt wasn't made by a leathersmith. I am not a leathersmith either, but I don't like the funky angles it's got going on. And since this is a hidden piece, I'm going to round the end and make it look nice. Because I can guarantee you the originals, well, whatever they're basing these off of, didn't have sharp edges like this. Everything would have been rounded. That I like a lot better. I like the adjustability. I like it being able to move as needed. If you make these things too rigid, it's just gonna, just gonna give you a bad time. So the belt's pretty much done. This part is just gonna slide through here. I do need a small strap. I'm gonna cut that real quick. I will be right. So these stitches appear to be every 1/2 inch. The key to this is just keep everything consistent. Not sure where we were when that died on me. Marking out 1/2 inches. And I am tempted to drill this out. I may very well just end up doing that. That way I know all of my holes are straight and in a line, and drilling is considerably faster. I wish I had a lacing fid. A fid is a thing you screw onto the leather. It's like a needle that you screw on, and it just makes lacing easier. The addition of a 2x4 can only mean one thing. Invasion. I'm going to drill it. It's faster. It's cleaner. Maybe not cleaner. Much easier to do. I'm gonna have to figure out what drill bit I need to use. Once these are all together, we're going to take a rotary tool with a drum sander attachment and just sand the whole thing smooth so the edges line up pretty okay. So things aren't perfect. As long as the front side is bigger, which it is, we should be fine. I'm going to drill a little bit and then I'm going to lace. I'm going to drill a little bit and then I'm going to lace. We're going to keep doing that until this thing is done. Well, until this thing is to the point where we're on to the next step. Done would be a misnomer. We are not going to be done probably for another 20 minutes. I do enough leather work, you would think I would have a lacing fid by now. As soon as I'm done, going on Amazon, ordering myself a stupid fid. This is going to take forever. Piece of tape wrapped around the end, like an aglet or a lacing fid. Makes this job considerably easier. All right, because I've gotten like from here to here in a matter of minutes. So I'm gonna keep going and we'll pick it up when I'm done. It has all been stitched together. These are loose. They're not stitched in place, so we can move it however we want. And where does this go? This way. The belt fits perfectly. Look at that. So when we put it, let's grab the blade, see how it looks. It fits perfect. Look at that. That is awesome. Blade comes out nice and easy. We're definitely gonna have to upgrade him to a better blade. There it is. Not too shabby. We add the belt box. And that's everything. It's pretty okay. So since this is just part of a project, this is as far as I can go. Ted's going to show up with a buckle. We'll put the buckle on, punch a few holes in it. That's done. Done. I'm done with Ted's 300 costume. That is super exciting. Quick, easy project. Helped a friend finish a complete costume. Doing parts, it's a group build. So I don't have to do everything. I just did the leather bits. And that's what we just finished. It's nice to have all of the leather for this completely done. Now he moves on to the rest of it. It's not my problem. I love Ted. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. But the last 2 weeks have just been his projects. And I have stuff I'd like to work on too. Speaking of that stuff that's coming up, maybe think about sticking around. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's been a lot of leather work the last couple of weeks. We're going to do something different. Maybe we'll go back to R6. Or, I don't know. I'm not sure what we're doing next either. Well, you stick around to find out. Thanks for making it to the end. I'll see you next time.